As Amy said, I am the proud older sister of Kari, who tonight is otherwise known as Snow White. I am one of her 9 dwarfs tonight, and for reasons that my family could really only appreciate, I'm sneezy. So it's always felt like such a privilege to be a part of this annual celebration, but tonight I take very seriously the distinct honor of standing on this stage and sharing with this rather intimate crowd what MLC means to me. MLC has singularly ushered my sister into a life of independence and fulfillment. Consequently, it has fundamentally altered the future my parents had long envisioned for themselves. And now, only as I move deeper into adulthood, have I really begun to understand what MLC means to me personally. I was 3.5 when Kari arrived. I remember only the excitement of being an older sister. I wasn't privy to the very serious concerns around my sister's health. You see, Kari was born with an exceedingly rare physical syndrome called Klippel-Trenaunay-Weber. As a child, I understood that Kari was different, really only through the stares of strangers. I would look at her often, trying to understand what other people saw that was so different, and it was impossible. I had no way of seeing that. Because at home, my sister was simply Kari. She was a really good swimmer, a Girl Scout. She let me dress her up. We played Barbies and make-believe, and she annoyed the crap out of me. And she always had a lot of neighborhood friends and school friends until really the day she just didn't. Well before I understood the extent of my sister's learning differences, I saw the increasing social stratification that was happening to her world, and that's really when I started to understand. Middle school and high school can be rather ugly places for most of us, but in our little town outside of Buffalo, there was a particularly fierce dedication to being unwelcoming of differences. Eventually, I was away at college, knowing only that my sister was sitting alone at lunch every day, and was dealing with a series of very toxic and cruel, self-contained classrooms. It is no exaggeration to say that my sister's school had no resources for her. As graduation loomed, it was really just the suggestion that she live at home with my mother or add her name to several years long of a wait list for a home. Unsatisfied, my father began researching the field to understand what options a young adult like my sister had. The prospects were grim. Fortunately, he found MLC here in his very own backyard. Due to Kari's high school experience and testing, her application was a bit tenuous. Amy, the new admissions director at the time, saw Kari's potential. My family's gratitude to Amy started with her steadfast advocacy and guidance throughout this admissions process, and it has only increased tenfold over the past 10 years as Amy has ushered my sister and now all of MLC forward to what it is today and who she is today. Kari's undergraduate years brought unbelievable transformation. There was meal planning and budgeting and transportation and laundry, vocational skills, but it was really the social emotional changes that were the most stark, from my opinion at least. Each step towards independence emboldened Kari. She suddenly found purpose. She was grounded by her new responsibilities. She no longer sat at family dinners watching the conversations. She interjected. She engaged. She had a life to talk about, whether it be about tackling the bus schedule for her latest dentist appointment, or more regularly, the Mall of America, or her work at Ark's Value Village. Including her commentary on upcoming holiday sales, details about the lines that would just line up for her at her cash register and her cash register alone, and the series of promotions and recognitions that she's received over the last 7 years of working at Ark. Kari may complain every day about being exhausted at the end of her day, but her sense of accomplishment and really, again, purpose are just as notable as the fact that she has an income, and she pays virtually all of her own bills. ARC has been a tremendous employer to Kari, and it's also been a really great partner to MLC. Thank you. MLC opened Kari's eyes and consciousness to a world and existence far richer than one she ever would have had in Buffalo. It was no longer restricted to just simply outlets that included television or the very immediate family. She learned to stand taller, and she learned that she no longer has to stand alone. She's invested in others. She has friendships extending throughout this room, throughout work and volunteering. Much like so many of you have come to know, she's spirited, talkative, totally immodest, and giggling all the time. If you don't first hear her keychain when she's walking down the hallway, you hear her laughter. The undergraduate program really jump-started Kari's journey toward independence. But in the context of her long-term future, it's MLC's community living program that will serve as the backbone of her independence. Because of CLP, Kari has a team of supports that will continue to grow with her, vocational and occupational, as well as some pretty cool activities that she wouldn't have access to otherwise, whether it's supper club or healthy living initiatives or even travel to places I would love to go eventually. She is part of a community that is thriving. MLC has expanded my own definition of what independence really was going to be for Kari. It's beyond apartment cleaning or even her job. It includes the intangibles of self-advocacy, social connectivity, and agency. Just as my own definition has become fuller over the years, my gratitude for MLC has also similarly evolved. It started with a singular focus on my sister, and it has now become more of a nuanced understanding of what MLC has meant for my parents. The staff, the Parents Association, and MLC's vast web of resources is what is ultimately affording my parents their own independence and freedom. Both of their daughters live on their own, have careers, significant others, and really bright lives ahead of them. As you heard, my father's turning 60 on Tuesday. He's the youngest 60-year-old that I know, and I refuse to acknowledge that as I grow older, he does as well. Nonetheless, he is currently making investments in Kari's future that he quite simply would not be making if not for MLC. Yesterday, he closed on a house for Kari, 2 blocks from MLC. This is perhaps the best illustration of my father's confidence in Kari, and it's really MLC that is the bedrock that is just around the corner for her. The house will also quite literally grow to represent my own financial freedom, when inevitably guardianship, however that's legally defined, will transfer to me. Because of MLC, I will inherit a profoundly different set of responsibilities than I would have otherwise. I will not immediately have to face a set of decisions that would require moving out here to Minneapolis or hauling Kari out east to fit into my life. I will inherit MLC as a community. In fact, over the past couple years, I've already begun to benefit from a growing sibling network, as well as the practical sessions on topics like guardianship and special needs trusts. I will eventually have to understand the web of supports behind her, but I won't have the full weight of them. MLC represents my freedom from a role that I will never have to own on my own. MLC has quite literally given both Kari and I independence. Thank you.